Good morning. In recent time, there is plethora of progress on both research and commercialization aspects of autonomous vehicles, mostly for European and North American highways. However, traffic participants in developing countries and specific use cases, like in an airport, require a machine learning system to be trained with unusual situations. For example, responding to presence of animals in a suburban road or unusual shaped vehicles at an airport often poses challenge due to lack of enough training data, privacy, and security aspects of the environment. In this talk, we will investigate the problem of detecting and responding to non-conventional traffic participants from different angles. We shall investigate the performance in terms of accuracy and latency of existing convolutional neural network models for Indian road dataset. We shall look at different way of interacting with semi-autonomous vehicle using latest research in human-computer interaction. And finally, we shall investigate a novel way of generating synthetic data using virtual reality digital twins for training machine learning models about non-conventional traffic participants. Before going into details of the presentation, let me introduce my research lab. I set up and lead the Intelligent Interaction Design Lab at Indian Institute of Science. I set up this lab in 2016 after coming back from University of Cambridge, and we undertake research in intelligent user interface design, or more specifically using AI and ML algorithms for designing intelligent and inclusive user interaction and user interfaces. We have PhD students funded by various agencies like Howman, Bosch, and CSIR National Aerospace Laboratories. Our students got selected in various ACM doctoral consortiums. And before setting up the lab in Cambridge, I worked with Jaguar Land Rover, Technicolor, BAE Systems, and presently I am principal investigator of projects funded by Microsoft, BT, Wipro, Facebook, Faurecia, and various defense agencies. We own a AI for Accessibility grant award from Microsoft, a early career and duo fellowship from DST, and very recently responsible AR/VR development award from Facebook. Our research has been covered in various national and international media, including New Scientist, Tech Explore, All India Radio, NDTV, physics.org, and so on. So as we discussed before, first I shall present context of the presentation in terms of different levels of autonomous vehicles and the novel concept of human-computer interaction for connected vehicles. We'll look at accuracy and latency of existing systems for non-conventional traffic participants, and also we'll look at different modalities for operating autonomous vehicles. Finally, we'll talk about synthetic dataset generation using virtual reality, followed by concluding remarks. As most of us are already aware of, autonomous vehicles or autonomy can have multiple levels, with level 0 means no automation and level 5 means full driving automation. However, reaching level 5 may take further research and investigations, while most of the existing research are concentrated on the intermediate levels, which means levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, where we imagine that there will be a front seat passenger who can take the role of driving when needs arise, and he may can also be in charge of controlling multiple vehicles. It's a recent press release from Skoda showing a concept in which a manned vehicle will be followed by an autonomous vehicle, and we can also think of similar situations for convoys, both for civilian purpose as well as military purpose, in which case a set of vehicles will follow a lead vehicles, and the same thing can also happen for aerial vehicles. And whenever the human is present, either he is controlling the vehicle locally from within the vehicle, or in case of a drone, maybe from a remote place, we can investigate multiple modalities of interaction between the man and machine. This video presents various autonomous vehicle projects undertaken at the I3T lab. We worked on comparing accuracy and latency of various existing convolutional neural network models for Indian road dataset, for developing autonomous vehicle for Indian traffic participants. We also undertook research on understanding how a convolutional neural network actually works using data visualization techniques, in particular through intermediate convolutional layered visualization and grad-based visualization. These visualization techniques helped us to understand that how a convolutional neural network localizes an object through its various convolutional layers, as well as at what portions of a particular object CNN models use to localize the class. In parallel to testing various CNN models, our Master of Design project developed a standalone drone payload that can be mechanically attached to any drone. And this payload has two cameras and multiple sensors for surveillance purpose, which was integrated to CNN for detecting particular target like position of humans in its working field. We also investigated alternative way of operating a camera attached to a drone or autonomous vehicle. For example, any standard drone or AGV requires a joystick to operate, but we developed a software by which we can analyze eye gaze and fixation pattern and use it to zoom in, zoom out, pan in and pan out a particular camera. We also developed embodiment using different mechatronics technology to operate a drone using simple semantic gesture and also direct its movement by combining finger and eye gaze movement. And we tested it with various types of display, standard computer display, as well as optical and video see-through displays. In this video, we are operating a standard RC card using eye gaze tracking technology, and we develop a multimodal joystick controller that can be attached to any standard joystick, and a resulting cyber physical system can be operated with any chosen modality or using semi-autonomous or complete autonomous mode. So in this case, we have two targets. We can designate one of the two targets using eye gaze or gesture, and then the RC car moves towards one of the designated target using computer vision technology and the multimodal joystick controller. Presently, we filed a PCT application for the multimodal joystick controller with the funding from Bosch. During the introduction, we pointed out that training models for detecting non-conventional traffic participant is a challenging problem. In this context, if we look at the standard object detection strategy, it consists of selecting or developing features using various methods like SURF or histogram of oriented gradient and so on. And then we add on top of this machine learning model and multi-class classifier to detect various classes of objects. However, from 2005 onwards, this feature detection part has been automatized, and presently most state of the art used a concept called convolutional neural network. So in convolutional neural network, we have multiple layers of convolution and max pooling. And from an input image or video, we convolute it multiple times and take out the most relevant features and use it as an input to a fully connected artificial neural network to classify objects into various classes. But if we may note that we may all agree that scats are not easy to catch. So what we mean by that is it is difficult to generate enough training data for detecting non-conventional traffic participants. Say, for example, if I want to develop a CNN for detecting different classes of animals and pedestrians, so it will not be easy task to assemble all these different types of animals and different combinations of pedestrian on the road to develop a suitable training model. And same thing also applies when we are thinking of developing training data set for places like in an airport where there may be privacy or security concern for taking pictures. And there are already multiple research efforts have been made to automatically taxi an aircraft after it has been landed. Summarizing that generating training data in particular for non-conventional traffic participants is a challenging generating synthetic data set. So the most popular and common type of such method is GAN or generative adversarial network, in which two competing neural nets they deconvolute and convolute, and they uh, kind of play a game between them, that one of them add noise and try to fool the other network, while the other network kept on learning to detect the correct object in spite of addition of noise by the first network. And by controlling the distribution and mean and variance of the noise, we can generate a much bigger data set than from a sparse data set. On the other hand, we are working on an approach in which we are developing a full scale virtual reality digital twin in which we can customize dataset as per requirement. Say for if I want to develop a dataset for Indian road, I can set up a virtual Indian road, and using virtual reality and ray tracing, I can generate effect of lights, ambient light, different camera angle, shadows, and bystanders, and all I can do all of this in a controlled fashion. And of course, we can also validate it with real video. This slide shows an example of autoencoders. So this picture is showing a particular example in which by adding noise, we can generate a much larger data set from a sparse data set. And by controlling the noise, the system can automatically learn features like rotation and emotion in this particular case of fray face, and we can generate data set for various camera angles and emotion from a single fray face. In the next slide onwards, we will show an alternative approach of doing the same, in which cases we will show a virtual reality digital twin for a office space, then an Indian road dataset, and airport use cases. And in all these cases, we can precisely control the synthetic dataset, and we can also connect it to a convolutional neural network through network socket and test the performance of the system with a actual CNN. And of course, we can also later validate the system with a small size real data set. The parallelized system is such an example of creating a pipeline of generating synthetic images using virtual reality model and using the model to increase accuracy of machine perception models. In the upcoming video, we will see a similar approach of generating synthetic dataset using a virtual reality digital twin for three different scenarios.
We investigate the possibilities of using synthetic data to train and validate CNN models. By utilizing PBR materials and baked global illumination, we constructed a digital twin of a workspace. We chose YOLO version 3 as our person detection model, and we computed the bounding boxes and the corresponding centroids. We then calculated the Euclidean distances between these bounding boxes. If any two individuals were to come within the 6 feet, the otherwise green bubble turned red. In this case study, we compared the performance of the YOLO model for detecting unusual traffic participants for both real and synthetic videos. We captured a substantial variation in the synthetic image samples by randomizing the car's position and orientation. Then, we compared the performance of YOLO in both real and synthetic images. We found that the detection rates across both real and synthetic data are similar except in the animal class. In our last case study, we demonstrate the autonomous taxiing of aircrafts. While taxiing, aircrafts must maintain an upper speed limit, and pilots need to be cautious not to collide with other objects in the vicinity. If a model detects any objects in the aircraft's line of sight, it gives a signal based on a confidence score to stop the aircraft. The aircraft will remain static and will only start moving if the distance between it and the probable traffic hazard reaches the safe limits. Thank you. Over and out.
In the previous video, we developed synthetic dataset using a VR video and tested a convolutional neural network on this synthetic dataset. In this video, we are showing an opposite approach, in which case we are developed a VR control or a virtual reality cockpit of a car, and we are testing this virtual reality driving with real road traffic. So the utility of such approach is that we can use any combination of synthetic dataset and synthetic cockpit, and we can use it for both testing different human computer interaction modalities of operating a vehicle or a drone, and also we can test machine learning models with both synthetic and real dataset. So with that, we will move to the concluding remark, marked as a set of prospective research problems. The first one, of course, is a human computer interaction in autonomous vehicles, including connected vehicles, in which case a single person is operating either a single vehicle or a convoy of ground vehicles or a swarm of drones. And as it adds to the perceptual and cognitive ability of the person, so there is plenty of research scope of investigating alternative modalities of interaction like eye gaze tracking, gesture recognition, speech recognition, which is already used in manned vehicles, to ease out human machine interaction in semi-autonomous vehicles or semi-autonomous connected vehicles. And as we demonstrated with the synthetic data generation and the penultimate video, that we can experiment on virtual reality based digital twin, which is already uh, being used in smart manufacturing systems and in a plethora of other systems for modeling human machine interaction of autonomous, semi-autonomous, and connected vehicles. And we can also develop use cases for both terrestrial and aerial vehicles. Both have their own challenges. And finally, although we didn't discuss about this topic in detail, that whenever we are asking a person to control a semi-autonomous vehicle, but it also require his constant attention on the road and taking up control of the vehicle if something goes wrong, or if the person is controlling a swarm of drones or a convoy of vehicles, it's very important to monitor the person himself, and in manned vehicle communities there is plenty of research on driver behavior, cognitive load estimation of drivers, and similar research can also be conducted in semi-autonomous or semi-autonomous connected vehicles. So with that I will, and this slide is showing a poster of our lab with various research use cases, and I acknowledge my students and research staff who undertook most of this research themselves. So with that, I will stop talking and I am happy to take any further questions. Thank you.